Welcome to Ride Convos. This is Coach Nicole on our next series. What are you reinforcing? We're talking about outcome versus process, positivity versus negativity, a hot topic. And you probably want your athlete to be more positive. You probably want your athlete to focus more on the process, not worry so much about score, rank, their opponent. This is a very hot topic. My advice to you, start paying attention to your conversations after a performance. More times than not, you ask your athlete how their game went, and they tell you if they won or lost, the score, their score throughout a round or a match, the amount of points they scored. And this is a pretty normal response for anyone, right? We're all conditioned for this to be the conversation after a performance. We're excited for the athlete if the results are there in their favor, we're in their favor. And if the results are not, we talk about what they could have done better. And if you really zoom out and think about the professionals that we watch, the college players that we watch, and the conversations we have with our athletes about those teams or our friends about those teams, that is also usually the conversation. Win or lost, who they played, what was the score, what they could have done better if they lost, and if they won, hooray. And we wonder why our athletes focus on score and results so much. It's what is reinforced. Of course, all they're going to be focused on is score, results, winning, losing, because that's what we speak about with them. And they know, kids are smart, they know if it's not good results, then it's going to be a long conversation about all the things that were done wrong in the game, the negatives, and how can it be improved? How can it be fixed? A debrief, right? And don't get me wrong, that has to be, you got to go over that, right? If you want to improve. But how can we expect them to focus on the process and have a positive attitude when the conversations after the fact are reinforcing focus on results? And then also, who likes a really long, difficult conversation about a performance right after they just played? To stop losses, to stop poor behavior, to stop doing certain things while performing. And again, these do need to be addressed. I do think, though, that, and acknowledged, I do think, though, that the conversations can be more about the process. We do want to still celebrate the wins. We do want to be bummed out about losses, but how can we frame those conversations differently to then help reinforce having a positive attitude and focusing on the process? If you want your athlete to start focusing on the process and not be so worried about results, pay attention to your conversations. What's being reinforced? Now, ways to reinforce the process: when they talk about results, you shift to process. So a quick example of what you can say the next time, hey, how'd your game go? And they tell you, well, we won. We won. It was awesome. Right? You respond, that is awesome that you won. So what do you think you did well to help you win? That's going to get their brain going to start thinking about, well, what did I do? What are some of those smaller process-oriented things that I did to help my team win or to help myself win? Tune in next week for more on what's being reinforced, how to reinforce positive and process, and being present. Awesome. Have a good week. Hope it goes well.